Hello and thank you for joining the last edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, House of Representatives urges President Buhari to reinstate suspended NSITF board, says their suspension breached the law as Ngige-Faleke compares himself to Tinubu. Police arrest 3 officers, 1 person for dehumanizing a lady in a viral video, and later on the show, Nigeria's first female helicopter combat pilot, Tolulope Arotile, buried amid military honor. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, while Mayor Akipwelu will join us via Skype. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. The House of Representatives has declared as illegal and the procedure leading to the suspension of the management of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, claiming the suspension was in breach of the NSITF Act. Meanwhile, a mild drama ensued at the ad hoc committee hearing set up to investigate the flaunting of the Act when Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, and the lawmaker representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, Lagos State, Ngige-Faleke, exchanged words. Minister Ngige queries Honorable Faleke's age, saying he was on the same level with the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and that aside from being age mates with the former Lagos State governor, that they had the same political achievements. But I saw that video yesterday and I watched it over and over again, and I had to play back what happened. So I got the materials of what happened. Faleke had come out with a lot of testimony and his everything against Ngige, the allegations and the questions they wanted Chris Ngige to answer. And for Chris Ngige to start his defense, that is the way he started his defense. And a lot of Nigerians will see that what has Bola Tinubu got to do in all this?
Yes, the truth is, he was trying to respond to Faleke's remarks that given his poor performance in the 2019 and 2015 election in Anambra State, that did he really deserve to be rewarded with that ministerial appointment. Ordinarily, it shouldn't have been part of the questions that Faleke will ask, because the issue at stake was much more serious than that. Sometimes when you ask questions like this, you tend to encourage those who have no desire to address the issues at stake to then address to then begin to chase shadows and leave in the substance. So that was Faleke's fault. Faleke ought not to have brought that question. He had enough questions based on the legal moves that the minister had made in respect of the NSITF to have focused solely on that. So that provoked him. But then, if Ngige had read the 48 laws of power, he will have encountered the 4th law, which states clearly that a good politician should not say much more than necessary. A good politician must say less than necessary, which means make your point, don't talk too much. If you're a politician, you cannot keep your tongue in check, because these tongues of ours, you know, it behaves like it is in a cage, seeking for freedom. Before you know it, your tongue will put you in trouble. And that's what Ngige has done. Ngige had no reason to bring Asiwaju Bola Tinubu into the picture. Respond to the allegations. If you've done what is right, respond. These guys are saying the NSTI, you breached the NSTIF Act. They are saying that you disobeyed presidential directive. Respond to that. Because you cannot, it's like you are punching above your weight by trying to compare yourself with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Where do you start from? You are a politician without mentees. I've never had anybody who said, I owe everything that I am today in politics to Chris. You can't win an election. So the election, the most famous election, he calls himself a former governor. But constitutionally, he was not a governor. In other climes, Chris Ngige will be in prison by now for conspiring with Chris Uba to rig an election. That's treason. In other countries, it's treason. He will be cooling his feet in prison.
2003.
But it is on the basis of the fraudulent election that he rigged, and then the appeal court took it from him and gave it to the real winner of the election.
Peter Obi.
Peter Obi is that same one that is still calling himself. And he knows, yes, he's a medical doctor, he probably knows little or nothing about law. But he should know that by law, he is not recognized as a governor, not a former governor. By law, is deemed not to have even...
Governor ab initio.
Yes. You can't place something on nothing. You are not a governor. It's as simple as that. It's like when you impeach someone and the Supreme Court said, no, that impeachment was wrong. It is deemed like the impeachment never existed.
Exercise of futility.
Yes. So you are not a governor, Dr. Chris Ngige. You are not a governor. Whatever you did that, I don't want to talk about Okija swearing on oath at Okija going, being kidnapped,
Signing
going down
documents
into history as the first governor to be kidnapped while in office. We don't want to go into that because we would then begin to talk about Chris Uba and his brother and their years of infamy in Anambra State. But the truth is, Chris Ngige cannot now say. Many people said, "Oh, he was not abusing Tinubu. He was just he was cracking a joke."
Expensive.
He even sees himself as superior to Asiwaju because he said, "I've been a two-time minister." He has never been a minister. Tinubu does not need to be a minister. He is contented with making other people vice president, making other people minister, making other people presidents. He has produced. He not only had 2 terms, where Ngige could not get even finish a term because he was removed
for the same position twice after.
Ngige, and he was defeated by a little-known politician, Ekwenefe.
Yes.
Ngige could not even win senatorial election.
Yes.
Tinubu not only became governor for 2 terms, he succeeded in installing 3 governors. How many? When you are talking about politics, no. What you want to talk about Anambra again? I said Tinubu not only served 2 terms.
Okay.
He installed 3 governors in Lagos State.
Back to back.
Yes. He not only became governor, he made other people governors. Ngige should show us the people that he installed. Have you ever seen anybody who came out to say, Ngige is my mentor, he made me who I am politically, he helped me to win election. He must first win election for himself. I know that even this, because everything that is going to Anambra is the one who Kolobis. We are waiting. He may want to contest even for governor again.
Governorship election.
Because it seems that even in the APC, they see him as the only person who is there for that place. The president is the arrowhead of the president's campaign in the southeast. Yet he could not help the president get more than 5%. The president, what did the president get in the whole of the south? Not even talking about Anambra, his home state. That's the point that Faleke wanted to make. There's no basis for comparison. No, absolutely no basis. This person is not your mate politically.
At all.
He's only in Nigeria. Whatever it is that Faleke has said, it is only in Nigeria that an appointed person will be intimidating an elected person. It doesn't happen elsewhere. You are just an appointee as minister. You are intimidating somebody who has been elected again and again and again. It's only in Nigeria that it happens. You're saying that, so Ngige was a federal worker, a federal medical doctor. That was why he was fortunate to live in 1004.
Okay.
When he said, yes.
Okay, that story of
when he said,
I'm from Lagos
I'm
Island.
from Lagos, not that he built a house there. He was just fortunate to be a staff of the Federal Ministry of Health. And then he lived in 1004. Many people can be fortunate to live in 1004 Victoria Island anywhere, even a Megad. But you don't then come and use that to boast that someone is from Mushin. Somebody who has never lived in Mushin. All his life has been living in Ikeja.
Constituency.
Yes. He's living in Ikeja. And he's won election. And he said something that irritated me. He said, from Kogio, this is Lagos. The people of Lagos, whether you're an Ebira man or Jebu, or even an Igbo man, we've seen Odimugu is from the east. He won elections here. They may not be able to do it in Anambra, but in Lagos, they are cosmopolitan, they are extremely receptive, they are sophisticated, they are prepared to vote for you, no matter where you come from. So, sneering and speaking in a contemptuous manner that from Kogio, meaning that Faleke ought not to have been elected there. No, the people of Lagos will not listen to you. They are different. If you merit it, they will vote for you. That's where Lagos is different. Many of the people from who won elections here, they are either from Ogun State or other states.
Yeah. Mayor Akigbalu, okay, Mayor, we're trying to get connection with a mayor. And in the midst of these brickbats, we are looking at even, the allegations against him. And the people that the House of Rep now saying that it should just reverse.
No, the president should reverse.
Yes.
That is the thing. You see, some ministers are clearly misbehaving. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Either due to inefficient monitoring, ministers are misbehaving. You can see what is going on in the NDDC. I said at the beginning that the president was wrong by allowing the Ministry of Niger Delta to supervise the NDDC. What have we gained from that? They are sharing 1.4 billion to themselves during COVID. And those who got little were getting as much as 600,000. Does it make any sense? Those who got little getting as much as 600,000. Is that supervision? You came into a place purportedly to reform the place, to clean up the stable. And what did you do? You tried to trump those who did it, those who looted earlier. It makes no sense. When they were even probing you, during the heat of the probe, you still managed to take more than 19 billion out of the place. Will the president sit down and be convinced that he took the right decision by saying that Niger Delta Ministry should go and supervise the NDDC? And at the end of what did we see? You accuse House of Reps members of being the greatest beneficiaries of contracts. They gave you 48 hours to produce the names of those who got contracts. With your tail in between your legs, you could not do that. You now claim that was not what you said. Something that you said that we had with our Korokoro eyes, we were watching you, you said it. You said, no, that was not what you said.
Nigerian politicians.
The things that are happening, many of us God spare our lives, but I'm convinced that those children will not believe. Our grandchildren, if we tell them that some of these things happen in our time, in our country,
It's difficult to believe.
They will say, no, it's a lie. They will say, no, it's a lie. It's just like my mom's last born. One day now, you saw, in those days, my mom used to write down everything that she wanted to buy in the market. And she saw that my mom was going to the market. All of what she wanted to buy amounted to 11 naira. He said, no, how can mommy go to market with 11 naira? But my dad will insist, write what you want to buy. You want to buy 2 kilos of meat, put it there. Everything that the old woman went to market to buy amounted to 11 naira. They won't believe.
Like a fairy tale.
In a country where it is now 472 naira to the dollar, the currency in a free fall.
Mayor Akigbalu, what do you make of the brickbats between Dr. Chris Ngige and Honorable Faleke?
I think I want to align with what Jide has said. Part of the problems that we have is that we want to practice democracy, but we don't want to follow the tenets of democracy because the parliament plays a major role in democracy. And apart from making laws, one of the things expected of the parliament is oversight functions so that they can put the executive in check. So if the parliament summon a minister and ask questions to on behalf of the Nigerian people to ask the minister to explain decisions that were taken, which may not be in the interest or which will not be for the public good. Instead of the minister to concentrate on explaining to the House of Representatives why those decisions were taken. Rather, he decided to dwell on stupid things that I think should not be an issue. You don't start saying that, oh, you are comparing yourself to somebody that you believe is the mentor of the person asking you question. It is not done. And and part of the problem that we have is that our leaders just think they can do whatever they like. They don't take the assembly seriously. They don't think they are accountable to anybody. They said things without checking things that they were saying. And it's so sad because how can a minister that was supposed to answer an important question be saying that, oh, he's a VI boy, he's a VI boy, somebody is a motion boy, or he's a two-time, he was a governor, those things are irrelevant. What is important is for you to explain decisions that were taken which the assembly believes were not properly taken.
May I
So
done?
that's what I think we should look at. Our ministers have to be serious in what they say or do.
You know, what do we expect of Chris Ngige now?
I don't know. It looks to me like a Freudian slip. You know, when you're talking about the Jekyll and Hyde theory, that human beings have split identity. Sometimes what we want to say is not what exactly comes out of our mouth, but it reflects our inner thinking. Great. That seems to me like what has happened. Is there some form of envy,
Jealousy,
that suddenly came out? Some form of envy of the Jagaban that suddenly came out? Because there's absolutely no basis for this. This is a man who had backed you all the way. Even when you won election against the great NAFDAC DG, it was this man. When Obasanjo moved against you, Obasanjo sided with the people who kidnapped you as a sitting governor. This was the man who felt this is the person that we need to help. We need to rehabilitate him. He brought you out of political dungeon and elevated you to national prominence. Because without these appointments here and there, you have no political strength. You have no political strength. You can't point to, you can look at Tinubu and say, okay, this is his constituency. This area is a no-go area for anyone. He will always win elections here. Can you say the same of the man from Anambra?
from his constituency.
They're always defeating you in your base. Always defeating you. So you don't have known political strength. You can't match the man in terms of his political sagacity. It's like a boxer whom by weight belongs to the bantam weight class and chooses to go and fight a cruiserweight champion.
Sustain big injuries.
No, you can even lose your life. We've seen boxers die in the ring. You don't punch above your weight. Fight in your own weight category. Go and fight against people like Ekwenefe, who defeated you the other day.
Victor Ume.
Okay, people like Victor Ume.
Those
are your age mates. When we are talking about politics today in our country, in terms of sagacity, in terms of extensive contacts, this man has assisted people to prominence beyond even his geopolitical zone. That is a fact. I know the late Inu Abdul Kadri, for example, the Sokoto man, was Asiwaju's boy. If I can describe him as a boy, because now, from Ngige's definition now, a 61-year-old man is a boy. Faleke is 61-year-old. So if someone who is 7 years older than me can be described as a boy, what will he call me? And he will call me an infant. So the thing is, but the issue is, the president, going back to getting down to brass tacks, the president can't be rewarding loyal party men and women with board appointments. And ministers will now come because their own loyalists are not among those people. They will now be chasing those people away. You know that this same Dr. Chris Ngige fought with the then chairman of the party.
Okay, Adams
Oshiomhole, over this board issue, because he did not want to even inaugurate the board. He did not want to inaugurate the board. These are the ways by which these people undermine their own party without knowing it. They undermine the president without knowing it, with their unbridled arrogance. This is what they are doing. You are hurting the party. When the president decides to reward people who have worked for the party, then you go there, you go and chase them away. And you don't even have the power. The acts establishing the NSITF does not give you the power. And they accused you, all kinds of accusations they made against you. Sometimes you can't even bring document to explain why you took certain decisions. And they are patient with you. All you can do now is compare yourself to the man in Lagos, who is now the reference point in Nigerian politics, whether we like it or not. Awolowo was like that. Awolowo was like that, and on his birthday, IBB said, "You are the factor in Nigerian politics." That was how he described Awolowo. Why did he say that? When people talk about politics in Nigeria, it's Awo that they talk about. He was not the president, but you can hardly say anything about politics in our country without referring to him. That was why IBB described him as the factor in Nigerian politics. Tinubu has reached that level now. Whether you are in the PDP or in the APC, he has friends. I know the way someone like you were at that press conference where Fayose was almost going to kill himself because he felt within the APC they were marginalizing Asiwaju, and he said, if you people touch him, it is the Yoruba race that you have touched. They are in different parties. People like Wike, they can abuse people the way they like. How many times do you see them abusing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Tell me whether you've ever had Wike. He can abuse other people, abuse the president, how many times has he taken on the man? So this is the thing. The person that Ngige chose to compare himself with is not in the same class.
It's inferiority complex.
Purely an envy, a combination of inferiority complex and envy. But he will not confess to people that is what triggered what he didn't want to say that came out suddenly from his mouth. But this is the thing. He's not your mate politically. We are historians. We can prove it. We can do psychoanalysis of your being and show clearly this is where you belong. You don't even have political strength. You don't have political strength.
Yes, please.
What's the way forward now?
Yeah, I think the minister should do the needful. He has been summoned to explain things, decisions that were taken, and I think he should concentrate on that instead of trying to tell us, trying to arrogate himself the influence that he does not have. Like Jide said, even in Anambra State, he cannot claim to have been very successful. The governorship I won was said not to be right by the court, And the only election that he won as a senator was the only thing that he can flaunt. As full-time minister, the luck that he has is that PDP is the dominant party in Anambra State. And he is seen as he's one of the first few people from the Southeast that was in APC, so he benefited from that. So I think it should just say the thing, because the things that Faleke said that you have to look at. Faleke used the issue that there was evidence that he was getting involved in day-to-day running of NSITF, which is not supposed to be so. His own is supposed to be the supervisory ministry, so he's not supposed to get involved with day-to-day running of the agency. Secondly, Faleke said that in the appointments that were made, that the majority of those people that were appointed came from Anambra State, which is wrong, and that even some of them have, a lot of them have Ngige. I don't know whether it's a communal name or they are from the same family. So it should talk about NSITF, why is not allowing the board to do things? Why is suspending the board without approval from the president? And he should do what is right. We are not interested in him comparing himself with who he thinks is mate in politics. I don't think so.
All right. Still to come. Police arrest 3 officers, 1 person for dehumanizing a lady in viral video. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout. If you're just joining us, we're reaching you live from TVC News here in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, a video which went viral has many calling for the dismissal of 3 police officers whose conducts were deemed unprofessional. In the video, the police officers and a civilian accomplice were seen interrogating a young lady named Tobola following a raid at the apartment of an armed robbery and kidnapping suspects. The interrogation degenerated into very lewd seeming dialogues with questions ranging from if she is a virgin to how many people has she slept with. The first public relations officer in Abuja, Frank Uba, said the suspects are now being detained at the Lagos State CID detention facility in Kmanti, Yaba, and appropriate disciplinary procedures will be initiated as soon as investigations are conducted. Let's share the video with you.
Yeah, face me. Face me. Face me. In the crease. They cover your face. Face me. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. I will test you. Face me. If you cover your face, CTV camera go carry you. TV go carry you. All the station, I swear. All the station. Everybody will carry. What I go do for you? Stand up. Yeah, stand up, stand up. Kí lorúkọ ẹ? Kí lorúkọ ẹ? Eh? Ọlá. Mo ló ń gbé. Eh? Ó ti ṣe ti bá. Ibo lẹ wà látàárọ̀. Gbà tẹ́ jáde láàárọ̀. Ibo lẹ yọ. Níbo? Níbo? Sọmọ. Lọ sọmọ. Ibi Chris. Ọmọ ní kẹ́yẹ́ ṣàṣìṣe ẹ̀kì mọ́ràn.
Ní iṣẹ́ àrísọ̀.
Báwo lè jẹ́ sí?
Wọ́n ní tẹ́lẹ̀ máa ṣe gbogbo rẹ̀
ní ọlọ́run. Orólè ò tẹ̀lé. Orí pé tiẹ̀ ti bàjẹ́. Gbogbo nǹkan ló máa gbé nìṣó. Kí ló ṣí bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn? Bọ̀bọ̀ tó ń fẹ́ kí ló ṣílẹ̀ fún tó tẹ̀lé àmọ́ rẹ̀.
Ọ̀lẹ́tẹ̀lẹ̀ mo ní boyfriend. Mo ẹ̀wọ̀ tẹ́ bá check fún mi ṣé mo ti fún yín fún mi.
O ní boyfriend.
Ọlọ́run mo ṣe ṣe kọ́pà ni mi mo ṣe lọ gba certificate mi ní ọjọ́ ní ìjẹta gan ni mo ṣe gba certificate.
Bó ló ti wá pàdé ẹjọ́ ló pàdé.
Ọlọ́run ọ̀nà PCJ ibi tí mo gbé ni mo ti pàdé
ẹjọ́. So kí ló dé tó wá sáré fọ́ fún? Kí ló dé tó sáré fọ́ fún? Kí ló dé tó wá sáré fọ́ fún?
He told me everything about his business. I say, please.
Kí ló sọ fún ẹ pé òun ṣe?
Ó sọ pé òun ṣe kí ló forúkọ ẹ̀ òun ṣe coke òun ṣe drinks ní Ìbàdàn dayade
máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ.
ó lóun ṣe drinks òun ta owó sales drink.
Níbo?
Ní Lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. He said he just got here. He just got here that he come for one day, a project like that.
Kò sọ fẹ́ pàmò rọ̀bà lóhun àbí?
Mo dára.
Pé kidnapper lóhun. Ó ti lọ.
I'm 25 years old. I swear, and this sure my school didn't date anybody. I swear to God, I swear to Almighty God, you Ìbàdàn ni mo lọ. Ìbàdàn ni mo lọ. But let me date gbogbo nǹkan tí mo ṣe.
Kí ló wá dọ̀dọ̀
bọ̀? Ó dàbí fíìmù lójú mi.
Kí ló wá dọ̀dọ̀ bọ̀?
Ó dàbí fíìmù lójú mi.
Kí ló wá dọ̀dọ̀ bọ̀ yìí? Ó kàdá. Tí ò bá ló máa gbọ́ mi, ká ní kò lówó lọ́wọ́ tí ò ní mọ́tò. Ìbéèrè ló kó sápò yẹn tí ò bá ní lọ́wọ́ sí wà tẹ̀lé.
Wọ́n láìtẹ̀lẹ̀ kò ṣòro.
Èmi torí owó ló ti déètì.
Wọ́n láìtorí pé mo ní bísíǹsì mo ṣe mo ta bàtà lọ́lọ́wọ́ fẹ́ràn lọ́wọ́ mi.
Ìyẹn ló gbà wọlé iṣẹ́ lára.
Wọ́n láìtẹ̀lẹ̀ olóró bá ń gbọ́ ẹ̀dẹ̀ jẹ́ má rìkọ́d mi mo fọlọ́ bá.
Kí lè rí sí tó ṣe wá sùn tì mọ́jú torí agbọ́pọ̀ ẹjọ́ sùn mọ́jú ẹjọ́ jáde láàárọ̀ yìí.
Wọ́n lẹ́ mo fi àdúrà ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ lọ bèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó wà ní gate àárọ̀ ẹ̀ mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé. Ó dẹ̀ ní kí wá help òun dáná ni. I swear to God Almighty.
Ó ti bá ẹ sùn àbí ó ti bá ẹ sùn?
It was today that he tried to. I swear to God Almighty.
Kidnapper, arm robber. You see now, where ṣe bó ṣe dúró? Wyclef, ó recover yàrá ìyá ẹ̀ mú bí adìyẹ. This is Wyclef. I catch her like fowl. Ṣé bá tó sẹ́sì ò ní gbà o? Wà ní mi lówó lọ́wọ́. Ṣé bá tó sẹ́ wà ní mi ní mọ́tò? Àbí?
These are like criminals themselves. As in, it was so difficult for me to believe that these are trained police officers. This conduct, the level of interrogation, the way they went about it.
This is not interrogation. This is not the way to go about it. A lot is wrong with the police, and I don't know who will eventually help us to cleanse our police and remove the irresponsible elements out of the police. I don't know who will do that. The current IG is done his best. He will soon leave. So he doesn't even have enough time to completely clean the police. I've said repeatedly that we have to start from the recruitment process. Some of the people getting into the police have no business getting into the police. Some of them are armed robbers. Some of them are kidnappers. Some of them are murderers. They are getting into the police because there's no other work out there to do. You know? So we need to do something about how people get into the police. I also think that the level of supervision in the police is suspect. The IG and the commissioner of police in the various states should begin to hold DPOs responsible when their men behave irresponsibly, like we have seen now.
Turn themselves to a court of law.
You have done a good job. You can imagine this, the one who calls himself Wyclef. I don't know. You have done a good job.
Arrested.
You tracked a suspect all the way to Ibadan from Lagos. You got hold of him. And stupidly, you began to record yourself.
Hand over to the first PRO.
You began to record yourself and then show yourself interrogating a woman, asking questions about,
doesn't know anything.
Are you a virgin, this and that. What's anybody's business with that? At the end of the day, you recorded yourself, you put your face.
Implicating
and then,
yourself.
It leaked. If invariably, as I know, the police will deal with them, they get interdicted.
He's in trouble already.
The provost, what is the job of the provost? They are going to descend on them. You get interdicted, they reduce your rank, or you are dismissed. Then you blame yourself. Every time, this is what they do. Look at the woman that they beat up in Iwo.
Yes.
Look at the policemen, the apparently crazed policemen who shot somebody at close range. They say, give me the honor of shooting him. Those SARS people. SARS is full of people who are murderers who have no business being in the police. Murderers. Some of them, you will see them going about in flip-flops, or what we call slippers. He says, who is virgin? In the police, they probably do not even know that this virgin is not good English. So it's terrible. It's terrible. The IG, I'm happy they've made this move, but they should take it further.
And make them. Usman is calling us from Yola. Thank you for joining us, Usman.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Usman, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, my contribution is in respect of this untoward misbehavior of our Minister for Labour when he was being questioned by the House of Representatives Committee on this agency under him, and he's sort of discussing the details of the issues raised. He has decided to attack the Asiwaju, who I believe by all standards, like I saw my brother, my younger brother Babajide talking. There is no way under whatever guise you compare Ngige with Asiwaju in terms of whatever. He might be, they might be of the same age. He might even be a senior brother to Asiwaju, but that doesn't mean that he has any political weight that he could easily compare himself with the leader of the party. Unfortunately, these are some of the hiccups that we have gotten in present government. In fact, only last few hours ago, I made some comment on my page on the Facebook, saying seriously, Nigeria, we are in trouble because a lot of things is happening, including the Falake Ngige crisis in the House of Representatives, where Ngige is claiming to be a Lagos boy. He has also described himself as a Lagos boy, a sitting minister who claims to be also a governor, who was one-time senator and two-time minister, as he claims. But it's unfortunate. I think the president should do the needful by reinstating those managers of the agency. And
thank you, Usman. Thank you, Usman. Thank you for your contribution. Mayor Akikbelu, what do you make of the conduct of these police officers?
Let me say I'm embarrassed for the Nigerian police because every time we see officers who behave unprofessionally, but I want to commend the IG and the police hierarchy that recently, anytime they see police officers, especially from things on the social media, anytime they see police officers misbehave, they don't cover them up. They try to make sure.
On network. So, from what we've seen, this particular, to be fair to the police hierarchy, so many of these things, anytime it pops up on social media, they respond to it, and it has been swift. By bringing these people into...
you see, the leaders in the police must constantly talk to their men. A lot of these people, they need serious talking to. Many of them are illiterate. They can't even write statements. How they got into the police, your guess is as good as mine. They can't even write statements. Outright illiterate. So their conduct will not surprise you. Because when an inspector who has done a good job then messes up the good work in the way we are saying, you then look at even their level of exposure. It calls to question their level of exposure. Because a policeman who is educated, who has been properly trained, will not be asking a woman that if I toast you now, you will not agree. Because that's a way of saying that he is interested. He wants to take advantage of her. If not, why are you asking that kind of question? Why are you expecting the girl to say, oh if you want, I will cooperate?
I'm looking at the fate of the girl. Under that circumstances, you've not established anything against her. I don't know why she was handcuffed.
Well, the thing is, they could even handcuff her. She's a suspect. You understand? Okay. But it is the courts that will determine whether she should be free to go home or not. At that point, you must still treat her with some measure of civility. But what they have done, you know, there's no civility in what they have done.
Beyond repair.
Why are you recording her? You said, okay, everybody will see her this, and that's what you have done. But at the end of the day, you've also put yourself in trouble.
No, it's good.
Because you never can tell. Where they are now in Panti, they will be wondering, what will happen? They will be praying now. Some of them will turn to prayer warriors because they don't know whether they will be dismissed from the police. And it's a possibility.
Sure.
It's a possibility, depending on how the police leadership looks at this. But the embarrassment of the police by the bad eggs within is just too much. It's just too much. Something has to give.
All right. Moving on now. It was a gloomy occasion as the remains of Nigeria's first female combat helicopter pilot, Flying Officer Tolulope Arotile, went down in a blaze of honor on Thursday. She was accorded full military honors with the traditional 21-gun salute as the body of the was interred at the military cemetery in Abuja. The late pilot was said to have been killed by an old schoolmate who knocked her down while reversing his car to meet her at the NAF base in Kaduna. Sad indeed. Here is the story.
Funeral of the first female combat helicopter pilot, Flying Officer Tolulope Arotile at the National Military Cemetery, Abuja. Her coursemates at the Nigerian Defence Academy play the role of pallbearers, wheeling the casket bearing the flying officer's corpse to the grave. Among those paying their last respects to the fighter helicopter pilot is the governor of her homestead, Kogi State. Others include the Chief of Defence Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, and the Minister of Women Affairs, who alongside the Air Chief winged the young pilot on the 15th of October 2019. In grief, the Arotiles paid their last respects in absence of their parents, who, according to tradition, are not allowed to witness the burial of their daughter.
Tolulope showed exemplary skills too difficult to emulate.
She was a determined, hardworking, godly, and extremely focused person in everything she did. She was passionate about God, family, and work, and was able to wisely separate or merge them appropriately.
The Chief of the Air Staff describes the female combat helicopter pilot as a mentee who didn't live long enough to fulfill her dreams.
As a service, we had so much expectation for Tolu, which she was already living up to with ease. Though she is no longer with us, I must say that her short stay with us was highly impactful. She carried out her assignments both on ground and in the air with a high level of professionalism, commitment, and confidence. Accordingly, she contributed immensely to the decimation of national subversive elements across all theaters of operation, most especially in the northwest and north central axis. Consequently, today I condole myself and the Nigerian Air Force as a whole. I equally express my sincere condolences to the Arotile family, the entire women folk whom she represented, as well as the President and the good people of Nigeria, whose sovereignty she fought earnestly to protect.
The ceremonial volley and laying of wreaths mark the peak of the funeral. Flying Officer Tolulope Arotile was winged as the first ever female combat helicopter pilot in the Nigerian Air Force on the 15th of October 2019, after completing her flying training in South Africa, where she earned a commercial pilot's license. She also undertook tactical flying training on the Agosta 109 power attack helicopter in Italy. Until her death, she earned the name Bandit Slayer due to her role in a special operation against banditry in the country.
Judy, very painful. Very
It is.
painful.
I can say,
1995.
yes, just 25 years and so much promise. I can say since 2016, when we lost that great tank commander, Colonel Abu Ali, in Malam Fatori, there has never been any death of a Nigerian serviceman or woman that has shaken our country like this. Because Colonel Abu Ali was clearly one of the heroes, one of the biggest heroes of our reclaiming of territories from Boko Haram just before the 2015 election. And after it, he continued to push Boko Haram fighters out of Nigerian territories that they controlled. And then we lost him in November 2016, after that night attack on their base at Malam Fatori by the Boko Haram fighters. So this is another death that has really shaken our nation. And it shows clearly how painful it can be when you see people who truly fight for your country, who put their lives on the line. When you lose them in circumstances like this, I'm sure Tolulope would prefer to die fighting for our nation than to die. She would have preferred to die fighting. She would have preferred to die in combat than to die in the form of a freak accident that I still cannot explain. How somebody just, in the course of reversing, will just go and kill someone. At what speed was that reverse being done? Because if it was less than 10 kilometers per hour, I doubt if this would have happened. But
I wasn't drunk.
I don't know. We don't have answers to a lot of raging questions on this matter. We can only.
This is like a personal loss to the Nigerian Air Force.
Yes.
To the Chief of Air Staff.
Yes, because she can point to her and the other woman, the one who is a pilot of a fighter jet. She produced two of them, first time ever. She can point to those two.
That's Sadiq Abubakar.
Sadiq Abubakar as part of his legacy, But this one is gone. Because women never rose up to this level. Sadiq has done a lot in terms of improving capacity within the force. Sending them abroad. You need to see how much money has been spent to train people abroad and all that. This one has been trained in Italy, has been trained in South Africa, and then this is a waste.
She was the one putting Mr. President through when they were commissioning.
Yes. It's just to show the president that this is how it's done. Look at, that's where they put the rockets.
And Chief of Air Staff is just behind her.
And she's been involved in the killing of bandits in the north central and parts of Kaduna, especially the Brenengwari area. So it's a big loss. It's a big loss to our country because nobody could predict where she will have ended up.
It's a tragedy of monumental proportion because this is a lady that is destined for the top, and death just came in like a thief in the night. Like Jide said, this is somebody that have attacked so many bandits. For her to lose her life in a freak accident is so unfortunate. But you see, sometimes life is very cruel. Sometimes certain things happen that you cannot explain. Because I've discussed with a lot of people who believe that, she must have been killed.
Conspiracy theories.
I told somebody, yes, conspiracy theories and all that. And I said, look, the Nigerian Air Force see this lady as pride of the Nigerian Air Force. The Nigerian Air Force have invested so much money to train this lady. they won't gain anything to kill the lady. So it is not right for us to look at the conspiracy theory. Though, yes, sometimes we may ask questions that how could a reversing vehicle hit somebody? But according to the story, because she was walking on the other side and those guys drove past her, and the guy in excitement wanted to catch up with her, if for whatever reason, I'm just saying so, if for whatever reason the guy is not very good at driving, and if, for example, that car is manual, in reversing, the car could go in a force that could be deadly. You know, depending on, because if the guy is not very good at driving, because they said the guy doesn't even have a driver's license. So if the guy is not very good at driving and it's a manual vehicle, in reversing, because you have to release the clutch, the car could move in a force. And because she was not aware, she was not even aware that the guy wanted to come back and talk to her. And she was hit from the back. And according to the story, the vehicle also ran over part of her body. It could be deadly. So we can only take solace in the fact that only very few officers get this kind of barrier and recognition.
So, Julie, this is like a challenge to other female, aspiring female combatants. Yes. Tolu has set a standard. She's a role model. She came, she saw.
And others too should know that if they continue to work hard, they can be like her.
Small time.
I'm confident that the Air Force will be able to produce another star like her. So we wish the family the fortitude to bear the loss. It's an extremely painful experience. You can imagine this girl started primary school, Air Force school, secondary school, Air Force school, and then NDA, you know. So she's a product of the Air Force from the beginning.
COVID-19 is still out, so you can't go out this Friday night. But have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dikio, it's good to be back.
That man will go out.
That will go out. No, I'll send Mr. Olatuji Disu to wherever he's going to lock the place down.
Well, thank you. Welcome back from Ondo State.
All right, and that's our offering. Join us next week for another episode of the program. You can watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzuakun, urging you to enjoy your weekend and stay safe.